Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm here today live at the Hidayat television studios at Watford and with another episode of the program Double Standards, an English program which I normally present on every Monday. This program is presented by myself with a special guest who's all the time in the studios, Mr. Alan Hart, but he's not well for the last few weeks and he's resting. So I'm doing this program myself. A few programs, they were missed. There was a little hiatus and I've come back with this program. This is live today. Today I'll be discussing two issues of paramount news value. One of them is the recent visit by the Indian Premier Narendra Modi to Lahore, a private visit paid to Pakistani controversially elected Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif at his private residence at Raiwan on the 25th of December, the Christmas day, the day marking the birth anniversary of our founding father Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Prime Minister's on his own birthday on the 25th of December. So I'll be discussing that issue in the first half of the program. Then I shall take a short break. And after the short break, when I reappear on the screen, the telephone lines would be opened. Like I said, this is a live and interactive program. Once the telephone lines are open, you are more than welcome to ask any question pertaining to today's topic, or you can share your views, your erudite views on the issue I'm discussing today. And today, the second issue which I would be discussing is, and that is a question, as a matter of fact, that is ISIL or ISIS or Daesh losing the ground in terms of territories, in terms of political strength, and in terms of their terrorist activities in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and other parts of the world where its affiliates are carrying out those activities. So starting with the first program, which is on the Indian Premier's recent visit to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif of Pakistan on the 25th of December. And a lot has been said about that. Some extensive news articles have been written in the leading newspapers, and some research journalists, they have picked up that issue. They have written also some research articles. The global media has covered all the news stories pertaining to this visit, which lasted for 90 minutes altogether. Narendra Modi brought to Pakistan all of a sudden. The government is saying that it was not a pre-planned visit, which is not being accepted by the people. It was very much planned. It was kept clandestine. It was kept secret. Very discreetly it was done. So 120 member entourage on the charabanc of Narendra Modi, they visited Pakistan. So many questions have been asked about the timing, about the size of the Indian Premier's entourage, and about the venue, and what were the gains for the Pakistani nation in this visit. So these are the questions which have been addressed, which have been responded to by the government functionaries. But the government functionaries, they only toe the line given by their bosses, being given by the bureaucratic bosses and the hierarchy they work for. But the candid, impartial analysts, they lambasted this event that occurred in the evening of 25th of December. Now, when we talk about a very large number delegation of Narendra Modi, 120 people, it's a very large number, 120 people. Now, the question number one is that were these 120 people vetted properly? by Pakistan's leading intelligence agencies or by the Foreign Office. So were they vetted, were they screened before they landed on the Pakistani soil? This is the big question. The second question is that what was the agenda? Now recently what we have seen in the last 1 year or so, I mean just after precisely when Narendra Modi ascended and he took over his Prime Minister office in New Delhi on the 29th May 2014. More than half a dozen meetings that have been held between the Indian Premier and his Pakistani counterpart. In these meetings, starting with the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif himself attended the oath-taking ceremony in New Delhi when Narendra Modi was being sworn in as the BJP Prime Minister in New Delhi on the 29th of May 2014. The other meeting was at the General Assembly at the annual General Assembly session in New York. Another meeting was there. Another meeting was carried out when both leaders they attended the Commonwealth Summit. Another meeting was carried out when they met at Ufa, a city in Russia, where some trade and economic issues they were discussed internationally. The fourth meeting was carried out there. The next meeting was at Le Bourget, a small town in the north of Paris, where the recent UN climate change summit was conducted. It lasted for nearly 2 weeks, from the 30th of November until the 12th of December, dealing with the issues pertaining to climate change. And they met there as well. And then again, they met on the 25th of December. So these meetings are very perplexing. These meetings are very complex. So many questions are raised on these meetings, because when we look at the outcome is all the time a zero-sum game, because Mr. Nawaz Sharif is not designed by nature to take decisions. He is the person who is very daring leader, there's no doubt about that. He knows no fear, he knows no danger, and he knows nothing. So we have a very wonderful Prime Minister in Pakistan. So he thinks twice before saying nothing. This is something very interesting about him when we discuss his governance prowess, that what sort of leader is he. He is there at the helm of affairs in Pakistan for the third time. Now, going back to that meeting, that visit by the Yatra, Raivind Yatra by Narendra Modi on the 25th of December. Now, another big question is that what were the major agenda points that were discussed? And then, of course, the big question, the venue. The venue was the private residence, more than $1 billion worth of residence, a palace by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So, before I discuss the venues, I would like to narrate you a very interesting incident that occurred in the late 1977, almost 4 decades ago. General Muhammad Ziaul Haq, he took over through a military coup d'etat in 1977 in July, and he deposed the elected Prime Minister of Pakistan, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Now, when General Ziaul Haq took over and he ensconced on his governance chair, he embarked upon the countrywide visits and meeting with the important people, the politicians, the industrialists, the businessmen, and retired and senior bureaucrats in different divisions and different provinces of Pakistan. When he was in Lahore in August 1977, and he was at the State Guest House, he had invited as many as 500 industrial entrepreneurs from Lahore and Incidentally, the father of Nawaz Sharif was also invited, and Nawaz Sharif, he flanked his father, and they met with General Ziaul Haq. And then after the meeting, General Ziaul Haq asked Mian Sharif, may Allah bless his soul in heaven, we all pray for him. He was a gentleman. He was asked by General Zia if he could do any favor for him, because General Zia desperately required the unqualified support of the business community of Pakistan, particularly of Punjab and of Karachi, to ensure the smooth running of the economy. Because whenever military dictators, they take over in Pakistan, so the stock exchange indices, they go down quite considerably, precipitously. And in order to keep that afloat, in order to keep economy running, in order to ward off the unwanted risks, the military leaders, they always try to garner the support from the business community. Having said that, this meeting was carried out in August 1977, and there when Mian Sharif was asked that what favor General Zia could do for him, Nawaz Sharif whispered something into his father's ear. And he said, Dad, why don't you tell him I want to become a magistrate, if not an assistant commissioner. Nawaz Sharif at that time was approaching his 28 years of age. Now in Pakistan, as per the rules in 1977, the upper age limit to become a gazetted grade 17 officer in the executive department of the province or at the federal government, the upper age limit was 28 years. Nawaz Sharif was born on the 25th of December 1949, and he was approaching his upper age limit on the 25th of December 1977. So he wanted to become a magistrate or assistant commissioner before he reached that age, the upper age limit. And a summary was prepared. It was sent to Establishment Division. It was sent to the military secretary of General Ziaul Haq, and it was examined. It took about 2 months. And then at a subsequent meeting, when Mian Sharif, late Mian Sharif, he got another chance to meet with General Ziaul Haq. He asked him sometimes in September 1977 that what happened to that summary, that request I sent, that my son Nawaz Sharif wanted to become a magistrate. He's a law graduate, he's highly educated, he is indeed, no problem, no doubt about that, he's a law graduate. So he wanted to become a very good candidate to become a magistrate or assistant commissioner, so that he could serve for 35 years and retire as a commissioner or the provincial secretary, or for that matter in grade 21 or grade 22 in Pakistan, the highest level of bureaucratic apogee one can achieve in Pakistan or in the province of Punjab. So that summary was expedited. Some senior people at the Establishment Division, that in the end of the day, when the vetting and screening was carried out, then the then Deputy Commissioner in Lahore, he sent his objection note. He said he is not fit for, his aptitude does not qualify to become a magistrate or assistant commissioner. The summary was turned down, and Mian Nawaz Sharif, he failed to become a magistrate or an assistant commissioner. Now this story was narrated to me by a senior, recently retired DMG officer of grade 22. I'm talking about this story in 1998. He visited me and he sat with me for long hours, and he discussed that and he narrated that story to me. And then I said to him that this was his fault, that why he impeded Mian Nawaz Sharif's aspiration to be materialized. Had he become a magistrate or assistant commissioner at that time in 1977, he would have comfortably retired by now, and the nation would have averted a durghatna, a tragedy, what the Indians they call in their language. So the nation of Pakistan would have avoided that durghatna, that tragedy, and Nawaz Sharif would have been retired now, and we would have had another person leading the Muslim League as the Prime Minister. What a pity. Normally people, when they die in their commemorations, as a memorial, the political parties are named after them, but after their death, posthumously. What a pity. Nawaz Sharif is running a party which is in his name, and he is alive, he is living. And what a shame for all those people who are elected from the platform of Muslim League N. N is for Nawaz. So a man is running the party under his name. So what sort of democracy is this? Is this a parliamentary democracy? Another question comes when Narendra Modi was coming. Was the parliament taken into confidence? All these People's Party stalwarts like Chandio, like other people who are the big mouths, the gas bags who really talk very loud from the People's Party platform, from Muslim League N platform, and they say that Parliament is supreme. In this case, an Indian Prime Minister who is an epitome of anti-Pakistan fervor, anti-Pakistan settlements, who has been implicated in the death of more than 1,000 innocent Muslims in Gujarat, who is considered as the Attila of Huns for the Muslims of India. For the Muslims of India, he is an Indian Durgatana. For the people of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif is another Durgatana. So obviously when these two Durgatanas, they were meeting on the 25th of December, the net result or outcome was quite predestined, nothing in favor of 200 million Pakistanis. And so we had a zero-sum game, of course. So even the parliament was not taken into confidence for this. So what happened? All of a sudden what we saw, that this was carried out in Rawand, a private residence of Nawaz Sharif. And obviously, I mean, if we ask that question from a layman, that there's no harm, a sworn enemy of the Pakistani law enforcing authorities, a sworn enemy of Pakistan's national security, political stability, economic goods of Pakistan, who is a sworn enemy, he is received as a personal friend. So that means that personal friends of Pakistan's controversially elected Prime Minister, they are the anti-Pakistani politicians from India. And they're, so this is, I mean, if at all that had to happen, that could have happened in Nawaz Sharif's half a dozen palaces in the UK. So that should have been carried out there. But why it happened in Rawand? Rawand is a part of Pakistan, of course, part of Lahore, and it belongs to. So all the parliament, the law enforcing agency, they should have been taken into confidence before Nawaz Sharif could invite him. So nothing was done there. If at all Nawaz Sharif had to invite Narendra Modi, he should have invited him at the state guest house, at least to acquire the minimal stamp of popularity, stamp of legitimacy as the host. So State Guest House Lahore is a beautiful building. Or it could have been carried out at the Governor House, a big colonial palace. That would have conveyed some message that at least a Pakistani national building is hosting the meeting of the Indian Prime Minister. Or it could have been hosted at Lahore Gymkhana. Or, now these are the three examples I'm giving that could come to the mind of the intelligentsia, the people in the educated people in Pakistan. But when we compare that, when we analyze that, from the perspective of a patriot, from the perspective of a patriotic nationalist Pakistani living abroad, such as myself, then that meeting should have taken place at Wagah Atari Gateway. Now why? There is a significance of that. On the 2nd of November last year, 2014, a big huge bomb blast occurred where 65 dozen innocent Lahoris, they perished. They lost their lives. and as many as 150, they were critically wounded. And we have no doubt about that, that India's RAW, India's other sanguinary intelligence agencies, they are very much involved neck deep into this crisis, perpetrating terrorism in Pakistan. So these agencies, they were behind that. So Nawaz Sharif, if he had iota, if he had that modicum of nationalism and patriotism, he should have conducted that hosting ceremony at the Wagah border and conveying a strong message. Look, your intelligence agencies, your terrorist agencies, they are busy in Balochistan, they are busy in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, other parts under the turbulence. So they were very much involved in this bomb blast that occurred on the 2nd of November 2014. So that meeting should have been there at the Wagah Atari Gateway. And that could have allayed some of the suffering, some of the emotional losses of people whose relatives they lost their lives up there. So that would have been the ideal venue for that meeting. Or if I go further ahead, if you take cricket as another missing a piece in the jigsaw between India-Pakistan our relations, then that meeting between Narendra Modi and Nawaz Sharif on the 25th of December, on the birthday of our founding father, on the birthday of our controversially elected Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, that should have been conducted at Gaddafi Stadium, the bastion of Pakistan's cricket. It should have been there. So that would have rekindled a sort of optimism to renew the cricketing ties between India and Pakistan. But all these 5 venues, they were not considered. And a very simple, so do you question the intelligence of the Pakistani people? Are they so simple? They will buy your idea, they will embrace your argument, they will say, all right, you say it wasn't pre-planned, it happened all of a sudden. No, it never happens. It never happens in the last month of 2015. This is the 21st century. This is not the 19th century. It was very much pre-planned. And now, about the 120 people, who were they? I mean, they were representing the energy sector of India, the cyber security firms of India, and the hotel industry of India, aviation industry of India. All these people, the Hinduja brothers, Azim Premji, their representatives, from Oberoi, their representatives. So Ambani brothers, the Mittals, all these people, they sent their representatives to explore and to whisper in the eyes of Nawaz Sharif. And since a large media houses, they were not invited, so obviously this was kept a close secret. So what a pity, Nawaz Sharif, using his official designation as the Prime Minister of Pakistan, using his private residence to further his private business interests, using the Pakistani assets and the entire nation and the opposition in Pakistan, that kept quiet and they acquiesced. So this is called nationalism. This is called patriotism. If that keeps on carrying out, where we have the democracy, where we have the parliament being supreme, where we have the trust in our own law enforcing agencies, so that means there is no democracy. There's a one-man show. There's a one person who would be a king for Pakistan, who is running a political party under his own name, PMLN for Nawaz Sharif. So is this the ideal model for the 21st century to represent parliamentary democracy? With that, I take a short break. When I come back after the break, I'll touch upon the other second issue which I have included in my today's program. So let's take a short break.